College of Communications, AUCC.
Yeah.
AUCC. Peter, you're welcome.
I'm grateful.
Na unda muti saying.
Award no adaroma. Wasan adom ye bi ama de pa bi ache. Na se oda ho na wote kokuruku a na kire se Ewurade asan ahumobɔ se san ebeto aso ne onyoma pa na nya akwanya esra obɔ ne fache na twe ho fi obɔ ne mu na okra no atumi anya enkwaje nti na se nkuto na ede ma Ewurade Yehowa se anope wasama ya hodin biem abetena
Yadase we dem say o qualify crash say o beye osempakani
na o ka say me qualifier osempakani osanka o ka say bishop number 1 because anope say o hwe say na matumi apusu me nsem no mu a
bishop kasa
am a bishop prekope but osempakani o say anope me ba BBC ye ena me hunu say obi ka say ontumi nka nyame asɛm a na wabɔ ne tiri mu pɔw sɛ ɔnyɛ
ka no nka
anɔpɛ mi sɔre pie me ka sɛ nti no me ba ɛndeɛ nyame adawro ma me bubu mu sɛ mabedu ha me pie fi mi dan mu adu akwan mu sɛ me pɛ ka me hwɛ ya obi apake ka keto bi asi ɔsɛ bra o bra o kɔn na me so me kɔ Accra o so transam mi kɔsiw na metena ase nti na me pese me ye me ethics no eye adwuma kakra nti metena me di man kasa
okay
metimu di on se ye fugu wonya hye fugu ye obiarum se be ka kramoni nti hono ma na obisa me se asore be na wokɔ na me se papa no pese o preach me na me se mpacho charismatic sorry ye bia na me so me ko bi na fe di obisa me nsem me yi na no ofia se o preach me na me ka se nti ye Christopher ekuta private cars aso anapa bia na se ekɔ adwuma no ye fo baako fo kora tena ka mu odbo ne ni bi ne ye kan Yehowa asɛm kyerɛ no a aso onya adwensa kyerɛ ana
okay
nsi enya daje enkwa bonten ko kanyame asɛm a anapa se ekɔ adwuma fa even one soul na kanyame asɛm kyerɛ no wan hwa obenya adwensa kyerɛ enti owura efa no se ye fa no jaba
okay
ko Pentecost ewo adanta frafra first home ono so kwa sori wo
enti obesi wa se ope okra no ne na kasa wo fa
ope okra no panye se bia da bi no ya mi o preach me atwe me ama Kristo anu one ne buta enti wo se ade oda to tim that no pa bia no kwa adwuma no afọ obi asi ne ka mu ene odi bedu bia obesi no no preach
we
enti me so masua
okay
se bicycle kona minya ya me ma on left preach wo
okay yeah, the radio asina ni di ni biem.
I see a friend who Jaba. I Pentecost here. I don't have a foster home.
Okay.
I was
Jaba baby. I will be ano. A radi in shroud. This is a lesson to all of us. Said you for nipa ba akwetena wokamu neka onyankopon asamo etreno. We are on Sorena Shrine, asem kesiye so. Yeah, brother Peter wonders ene wahi. Peter, ene kabima min kabi. What is democracy?
Sir, ubisa se kabima min kabi dienya. Say tree monokradi. Say eno wankasa etre ne bobre.
Okay.
Say obeka wadwene. Ana me so ma de maka me so ma dwene o ma me akwanya ma me kasa me kire nia metumi ma ye nia o mi tirimu ana won so wo kire wo de enti saa ka ba minka bia okay me pese me diko free baby free ba ye free Athens Greece na omo wa de bia pese marketplace of ideas so ye kuhia as akwankwa nuase a won a omo wo osuahunu ana se o ma propound some theory ana se o ma nya osuahunu bi no ye betena akwankwa nuase na wo sofo wo de wadwene aba na me so me de madwene aba ya pense mu ahwe se dia wo ka enia me so me ka no hwan na ne de ewom ana se hwan na ne de ye fa aye adwuma na ya de ya fa so ahu eno na endade di mu akwa wura amanyosem mu ande ye wo bibi e frɛ ne sei kabima me nka bi amambuo enti kan wo de na me so me nka me de na temanmufuo no ye nhwe ne nipa oka asem papa ana okere adwen papa na ye nto no so tonto na se owini a na se odinkunim a wabedi yanim ewo emberiti obi mu odi wia na obofoforo nso asa be kana adwene onso ne de ye a ne afa ne de ekwa yanim nti ubisa mia ase kyereke toe a we don mema
yo na mepese yebehwe eye kabima minkebi no ne farby ne mpompon so de wa kire ne abakosem a etaato se eye Greece honi fibaye se eye philosopher fo ahia na ye didi nkomo na we kire nadwen na we kire nadwene ohoro mpese mbisa se enti so obi kire nadwen na se obi kire nadwen a ye de sansem mienu ne ye kari ne de sinsani ani a ye wo obi otimi ka se we nu wawi ni ana we nu wafaye democracy na samo american ye Greece mamu na american
ani ye osusu dua eretoto ho se osimasi asema okan die ye pese se enye se bia okokọ kan wasem no wasori
ko so wo kasakra
debi nye se bia ofo se wo ye philosopher wo nya kotra no kan wasem na akọ ye pensen se no mu ya obi we bisa question na saafo no bisa sa questions yi na ye won a omunim de ma kwadre ewo nsemu anase dada setena mu ye be bisa questions otumi sansamfo na no a nya hu sa mpa ye de wasem to skills wa emu odu nti ye mfa wo de no enna emantina ye se nipa bebre e de omo adwene ebaaye anase omo de omo nsamfo ebeba na mum nsamfo na eba the marketplace of ideas no any na netumi stand the test of time nse wasem no ibie animu anasa nwubie animu a ne atoto baabi na nasam ya de ne afa ne ekoye anim sana na etie.
Okay, so in other words, democracy is a process where two or more are able to share ideas and be able to weigh which of the ideas will carry the day in terms of which one can be implemented to help the people.
Of course, yes.
All right, now let's now bring it into politics. Nientia me share da ma osan ko ho biemu say akwakodu mpompon so bia ye de ye wa ha ne de eno aso wo kasa trada sa enyina so bia nim ezan say yes won kasa enti no aso wo kasa sa e ba ne sen na democracy aba be wura amanyosemu na afi wo de aba bedu ye bibrem ha. So obviously democracy is fairly new to Africa, looking at how many years it has been practiced in other places. Ebane se na aba bi wura yenso Africa bibrem ha ye wi ani abagana.
Say obika se afei na democracy aba Africa. Me no ye nya adwen. Okay. Ana me njin tum se kwasi bodi na de democracy adeba Africa. Okay. Africa no, we had our form of democracy. So oka say governance and America say Africans so the form of governance and so na kwasi broni ye de eba wan say na ye believe ewo ahensemu this kingdoms into na nya dahome kingdom
na say na kasa obi antimi nkasa
ona me be o pese o yi asem na fima no eno na ye de be wura democracy mu ani ye nya no.
Okay,
what would I mean? No, and no, this Odo kingdom, Benin kingdom, Dahomey kingdom, Ashanti kingdom, no, na ye son, and only ye na democracy not to say. Sir, would you say 1,000 years kwa na sabe oba tina konyono so de awia na no be fra wo se ko wenchi na se brana no na be toa wa hinye no so wonsama asama ndo a ansa na obi a edien abehya wona mu. That was the form of our democracy.
All right.
Abushapani ene ohima na hima betena se ya kan etiasim so Kofi Kwame yaw ane ye de ye pe no na edo obedi ade ntudi ade na wie na se nyame edi hu afofie 40 years and 50 years na se wu a ne asasa koto obi so foforo so tonto no so abeto aso be mra kwasi broni ba ye no on the system of governance or the democracy and broni democracy ni ba Africa no and a mistake na eba ye mra ye transit from our kingship and our kingdom to the new model, and I said the emerging and a popular culture of democracy make us free at times I buy a honor from so free by. Okay. Ya to ya de na twene ene ko fa kwasi broni ade enti emre ko fa kwasi broni ade no eba ye no ne ye feel say ano na bedi aboa ye esa ne say broni na bedi ye so ache ama at a point in time na ye culture no ne kakranka ya yira afriensa
yo ye be ko ye culture ni mu ne ya ba na afe ye de aba be si eye amanyoye emuene no ne mpomponso and you ahwefo ye bisa ye wo say kabima min kabi democracy has it failed us And that is what we are discussing. But we want to be able to historically situate democracy in context. In looking at the historiography of democracy, ye di hunkomoi enona ye papa Peter Wonders or di efi Athens Greece no wa dia ba bi ra ye bibiri ha. Now Peter, I want us to be able to analyze a little bit our form of democracy. So they also yen de. Na yen form of democracy no na do baby etumi wura busuam waka busuam pani de. Afi so create mi wura woyere eni okunu ntem emma ene papa ntem ana emma ene maame ntem se papa kasa wo bi anka bi wo pani edware a na kire sensuo kra asan wo fie. What is this single thing that makes our form of democracy unique, and what are the flaws?
Ubisa is a question here. You wo enama obuo eba efie enama obuo eni osuro eba abusuapani ho enama obuo eba ohene ho a obi ntumi nsore se mikotu ohene bi ahenie agu
na so osi ho ndi osi ho onipa baako wo wu ya obi anya bi akonya ni
yeto no so ba wan sore keke na kwotena ho
ohene no yeto no so aba
of course yes
enyo ohima bi na yi no besi ho
eno ne abato no. Okay. That's our system of voting. It was our system of voting. And then your himankwa and all kind of thing. Obama kuro mu say ya. Nkonya ya se be to e be che ohene ya. Ya di ohene no asomako abusuapani nchen. Se abusuapani ye akonya bi atore. Ye hia obi abaya de abetena akonya no so. Na ya power committee ewo ufie na committee no ayi nipa miyensa. Ye yi ba ko nipa miyensa. Da koma ohene no ohene nso ni na busua ni na pamfo so atena se ni ahwe mienza no mu okay the mienza ne baaye ye should do down we dey empe no mo ba from machine na 9 nti the trade ba ni da koma adonte hene say ye penipa mienza we first of a choice here osimasi second choice here we third choice here we nti uko wanya we ya chi we so say to so ba wi ni abeche nti e ba ni e benya
ni nipa ba akokra na de bia ya dwene si
mama mu yen sanate ye yi nipa 3.
No, I think say it might not even be okwa because if I ye ba be cho hene a ye tu agina edin miensa enite mi ba na fe ya hwehwem into say yes we nya ye be si ni hene o we nya ye be fa ni hene o enti now I am beginning to realize say we have indeed practiced democracy.
Of course yes.
But when me say ya antu ni din democracy ni de broni de no akataso nti e ba ne sena say kwesi broni de aba be kataso. How come the western form of democracy has overshadowed our African Ghanaian form of democracy?
We were dehumanized. We were told
send sense unti
ya say ye ka kire yen say ade bi etuntum bia enye broni be di ye so no wa ma it's like we lost our self esteem. Say o pese me twas no me bie ye bie wani a hwe Egypt.
Okay.
Ye ka say civilization and bie efri abibiri mu ha na e baaye na he na fi ase efri ye Egypt. Besi enna me no to hwi bebruna nim say the real Egyptians no omo yakokofo. Me so bi ni wonim say they were not whites. We are blacks till today. Yes, I were black Egyptians. I call southern part of Egypt, you know. Before, and the real Egyptians, no blacks, no emigrated here. Musa kai besi ne ansa ne nuanom Arabs yi ebeta na ho. That tells you say, and before no more no media and come wasem into account ashe. They have lost their humanity. They've lost the quality na. You can say way bibidi o mayira. And na me no ti Ghana mai mu kura yeso e kwan bi so yayira. Enti broni ba di ye so taye no emma ya hunim ene self esteem no ho e be yira yen ama ye ba ji kwasi broni form of governance and democracy no eden e ba tu mu na emra ji tu mu no ya nhwe ekwan ye be fa so a ankane de na ode ba ye no ye be sone so ne ya hwe kwan ye betumi de no so de asisi ani aga so ke aha nya yi ha mfirim aha so ye yen fa we zo ye de emeka we mu ane eto ye de no chene ye ene ko fa no de no be si ho nti be hunu se de no ye ntumi enso mu ye nti there was what you call me friend said a rift in culture. rift in existing culture and emerging culture. Now, emerging culture, no make I say, 𝗦𝗍𝗿𝗘 democracy, no, and I'm my friend said the emerging culture, and the existing culture, no, and only yenya be muha, your culture, your and sana as emerging one year day, a buyer. So now, no, ye conflicted, sa too, no, ye who say, ye what the old culture, no, and I say we are moving towards the emerging culture, and you say you're too obiso tonto. No, but the hene kura na so be di o man pani a wo be hunu say adebere mu democracy no e pese e die awia no what e no na obetumi ka say o mi papa kura e di ade e pen wa di o man pani pen encheche na ate e wo say me so me e die me di o man pani e sense of say e ya hindie and yet we to obi so ba ye odi aba no wie na say wo say o tu free so a no say no I was say 4 years but me ensan say mranani na mintibi ensan entena so biom wombreko a ne mbre ade aso
okay
ebiom me no win na ya adwe say what we na tena kuase pen fine woni mpefe say obofo ko ahayo na say okum aboa titru aboa kase biara your party bia e yo hene dia I hope you remember that.
Yes, right.
Good. And the partner you're here, Diano. So we nim now the ones I can. One shot, ye chowasu, if you are my name. And almost on Henna knew a tea and found a quiet brain to them. Nemo so when you come have one idea. Partner, the trinity. And you're here, dear. And you won't say, Nano, the fatty part of a meat on your Henna. And you're not in our democracy, no. The fatty part of the national cake, no. No, about 4% inside the boom. It's what I say, yea, existing and a current and our old culture, no, and the emerging democracy, no. Okay. And you know, of pre or form of and your tone and sa, or do GRA or the sub so, or do how and some so, not why the opposite, often be a head, a corner, and the man who call a Côte d'Ivoire. Laurent Gbagbo ya to abawie a wadi wo mbrawie so the free so o say men so Ali Bongo ko he de esi wo ho hwe ne esi so e wo Benin
Togo ka Ivory Coast de na Togo e beba Togo but Ivory Coast de na ya ne du ba bi a e me ngongo isan say de ono de animu say akoye ntu no na de oye no enye kama ono so so baaye
ai already a chance so
already a chance so
I tell you say there is confusion. Oh, yeah, to me, and transit from our former governance, no, and the current governance system of governance. I any say yadwin say kingdom. A Hindi, and to offer say, Mamma Yamatra Swede, as a minion of free super, and was a ba, and so be the idea. Oh, no, and you free say that attains form of governance, and as a democracy now, overcome what drinking. Na me so maka madwene no e wo say oba no ekọ the marketplace of ideas e ho any baby abekọ edwom e wo ka wasem akere timamufo no ma oba no so ko obi awo ka na asem say ya say no efe no ewe asem ne hu say asem ani pa no ka no eto asum a ne eto ma no enye say me na ye dankwa enye say me na ebuzia me na dombo nti tira ate no e wo say me di ade papa na Rollins tichina ate me na ne Rollins no for the Rollins
CPP asini
tichina ate o say me di ade wo mreko say me kafra say me previous me family for
afen ne ba amanyosem afen ne ba amanyosem
ni ko ni tiu say de nkwa na tichina say si ade so tichina si ade no but say man mu a say ene ma boni nkuti na obedi e say say wo fa bi ne na bi ne papa bi nti ekoma Ghana man ama Ghana nyafa ho de nti no say nyansa bi ade ne timu a teachers of said esi ade so eni moyen
enti natural say
enum janu obra enum janu
kabi mami kabi no kabi mami kabi no amoyen ya hu nkurem se hu nkurem mu anka boye esan say aman bi ade ya adwuma ama aboa won so me make say if indeed we want democracy then we should have the African form of democracy. All right.
We should define democracy in our own context. And never couple of women get you more.
All right. Ashafo Ojano pa na asem kese so. Peter wonders what so jano. and none of Pobetana said, and none of Pumpamu 1850, or no, Pumpamu, I so snake to whom you know, dear Bessie studio. But we want to quickly welcome our friend, our brother, Shandof 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, you are welcome.
Yeah,
thank
you.
How have you been from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday?
It's just been very tiring. Yes, but everything went well.
Okay.
Everything was perfect.
Okay.
And of course, to you too, thanks for coming as you promised.
Sure.
Yeah, everything has been very smooth. Just that we are all tired. Everybody is very tired.
Yeah.
So we are.
But we are grateful you still made it to come and join us. I hope that then somebody also came, because a year the ones you are done and it doesn't come, it brings more stress.
Yeah, it brings a lot
even
of stress.
than when the body was there. But we'll talk about it behind us.
And you won't bonds, I want to one by whom young. One some come to joining bomb pass a man showed top and say, way. Nay, I answer direct to Yakuta and Nemo Musevi Biacosono. Oh, but we missing time. I catch out, say, shut up the master. I'm missing all down. I want to say, McCoy. Miss Namiso, Miss Head, and wouldn't be a bomb pie. I took from one medium man. Oh, well done, well done.
Enough of more, enough of say, oh, you papa, Ewusana, oh, Koba. But we want to welcome you, especially to the studios and back to work. We have been discussing democracy. I don't know whether you have a definition for democracy according to you. Before I'll ask the second question, has democracy failed us? What is, in your opinion, democracy?
For me, democracy is basically what all of us think it is, a government for everybody. But from what we have experienced over the years, I think now I like to look at democracy from a different perspective.
Please.
As not a government or not a system for everybody. It's a select few who are reasonable. I think that is how we should, define our democracy.
So it's not everybody at all who can just voice an opinion out.
In a democracy, no. I think that is the problem.
Can be mamin, can be
no. If we Sebi, no disrespect, not all the fingers are equal. Okay, in life you won't have balance all the time. Even if it comes to reasoning, not everybody can reason. Sensibly. So if you, with all due respect, so if you create a system where you say every opinion matters, the problem is that now you will be...
Let's say not everybody can reason intelligently. Let's put it that way.
Intelligently. Yeah. So if we all agree that everybody cannot reason intelligently, why do we want to create a system that factors every opinion? Because by all means, we will end up having situations where some opinions are rubbish, not so intelligent that we cannot work with. And that is what has been the problem with our democracy. The fact that everybody thinks their opinion must count. That is the problem. Not every opinion must count. For example, you are professionally...
So I am a voter. I have gone to vote. It means that my kukurumuti is on a ballot. I'm being able to aid in bringing a certain government into power. Don't I have the right to also talk?
No, you have the right to express your opinions, of course, but it must not be absolute. Okay, it mustn't. Let me just use an example.
Right.
You happen to be a medical doctor, for example. So if it comes to issues about human anatomy and health and all of that, you are an authority compared to the two of us. However, if maybe something is happening to, for example, my brother here, I can have an opinion on it. Maybe, for example, he gets up one morning and maybe his hand is swollen or something. I may have an opinion based on something I have read or something I know. But that opinion, by all means, cannot be superior than your perspective on the matter. Why? Because you are the expert. I'm just a lay person. So if it comes to decision making on what is going through, I shouldn't be part because I am not so much of a refined expert.
So is it not the same thing? Before you came, we're talking about the fact that the Westerners have come to create a certain class system where the classes are separated from the masses. So a medical doctor can say something, a lecturer can say something, a journalist of a certain repute can say something. But when a common journalist comes to say it, it is not really taken. Are we not classifying human beings?
We have to. Because human beings indeed are not the same. That is why we have to classify them in the very first place.
Okay.
It's nature that actually does the classification. It's not of our own will. Because if you put 10 people in a room, all of them will reason differently. But the reason for democracy is to make society grow. So opinions that don't advance the growth of society, why should we embrace it in the very first place? So for me, I look at now, if I could, and that is almost tilting to autocracy, but it's fine. We shouldn't have a system that accommodates every opinion because the people are part of those who are governed, because they are the affected masses, therefore they must have an opinion. The opinions must be filtered. That's the reason you wake up in the morning, now you go to social media everywhere, and everybody is saying what they want to say, just like that, and it is clustered. Those who are being sensible are there, those who are being other, and we are mixing up everything. I think the division must be very, and me, if you're looking at the tenets of democracy, apart from having a free and fair, having consistent free and fair elections and all of those things, a vibrant constitution, you also need a thriving media. Look at the media, for example. Right now, as we sit, any human being at all in Ghana can wake up and then build an online news platform. They can publish anything they want to publish, whether it is true, it is false, it is decent or not. And all of this is in democracy. It shouldn't be that way. We should be able to, tighten it a little so that you can't just get up and run a media house. Now, if you go to social media, for example, look at the number of bloggers we have. It's all about having a microphone and then maybe blah, blah, blah. Then you set up, you are passing comments. And what we fail to recognize is that these things, they make people think, okay, so if I come, I'm watching, I'm forming an opinion, I'm learning. It's forming the bulk of our, social perspective, how we think. That's why we must be able to. So I was even advocating that, look, I would be happy, the media being one of the tenets of democracy, I'll be happy if maybe from next year we'll say that, look, before you be a journalist, you see the way if you want to be a lawyer or a medical doctor, you have to be licensed and all of that. Even journalists, let's begin to license them properly so that if you don't have it, you can't practice. After a period, we must now review your license. Okay, what did you do around this time?
And this is done in other places.
Yeah, so that, because if it's all about everybody talking, sorry to say, I can get drunk and go in and talk because I have the microphone. That's democracy. So the asset test for me is what we are doing. Is it, helping society to grow? If it's not helping society to grow, it's not democracy for me. So for me, it should be filtered opinions. It should be. The class system must be. I support that absolutely.
Okay. You are for the stratification. Stratification. All right, Peter. Has democracy failed us, whether stratified or whether the African form of democracy, has it failed us? As Ghanaians, as we sit now.
To a large extent, yes. It has failed us.
A dear Ramo, Kabima, me kebi a dear Ramo.
Person first one we country.
Na a balance.
Okay, make us say a dear Ramo. A crime be so. And a boy and so a crime be so. Okay.
In the end, shall say if you baby a boy because they be a honor a bit shot.
A boy ama and then yen two a buying engu. Ewo omaimo. Now here a mania ye two a maingua. A sign Emma or development, like I say, a coat nechi. And say, put the chia, pimwa, and so I assign abandoning. To Bonu say, or one able to a banyagu, not a co. And then what
to shed the AC Mali, Burkina Faso, and in Niger and Semia.
Endimwa, but then no a honso so sania na almost nienti am go to aban no gu and so
nyina
so mo tu anyina so say what here eto asum na mum so about development and so retarded development nti you hwe Ghana ha no a meka say was akwan no so no and a develop enipa bebre, that's human capacity. Amen me transfer me bomb me ni kompo hwe won a me mo start student politics be mo du a na bo say democracy no
abwa kwan
be me to me So call Osman Ayarega,
okay.
Sammy Benfo, na Francis Abuaje, Louisa Ajemai, and Fatih Abubakar.
Okay.
So Oka and
make it so na na ye presido no.
There be omonona
omudi manimu.
There be omoye nooks.
Okay. Oka nooks. Okay.
But say what the SRC so a ye wo edom bebre wo make say Ewurade apagya omo akọ omanim. Enti make say okwan bi so no aboa.
Okay.
Aha. Na se eba ehwe bebia make say democracy a high no a. Eno ne empempeso amidi na me illustrations bi e kira wo say wo hwe Ghana man mu a akwai te say ohene a ote akonwa so adodode aban bi emma ya obeka say scandals dey for no na empembe berebo hu say yedi a ye sabe nkum nifa nyina na edie yedi nyina na ye na ye pese ye kasa ekata etoa na ya pagya to oman ajapadie mu ya tonton oman ajapadie afa na mini ho ansa na kwa nkroma mre so ne yan wo me na se meta kaka masuan say about 300 factories and or certificate of the coming nkroma e ba ye e banwene ye ene ne nyina wan ya ton adi aban ba na waton wa asema fom mafa ena me kire wo say obofo akọ ahayo akokuma boa na bebia srade no ewo no ena de ma ohene eno na ene omampan bia betena so a ono so srade afam opeso ofom ye de efa hwe ye tire bia foreign affairs tema station epeja to mu nti se obi ba na se o se hona abo ne ti wo ha onye twa bo ne ti wi a na opeja to hwe diare bia wo cycle yi epeja tum hwe tema e from drugs bank ense epeja tum eriba bi so ase enye ba bia ampeja nto na ye enibre ko wura market ye peja tum no ne market women na se ko pesika bi photo bi momo no mutumi de yi onye hu sa na hu se ho na bo ne tie de ehye so enti wokwan bi so no democracy haye obi di boni abon se wo se ne begina embra anim tete mbre mu so ohene anim kwaku kwame ya te se wakoto obi mu na wo se de wo fa sa kwan yi so wo kwame waye se o se de wo twe waso wo sa yi so no obi begina wo fa ne court wo na press fa ne ko horo nipa no to wo di asem no we di no pa die mesre ayi for ya judge so mu hu mabona mentumi entwa kakra nipa no se ya go court wo bedu horo na nipa de de ete wo eko onim se me du horo mu a ye be twate me nfa me ko ho ala ko nipa no se wadi bone a ti ye ka ya sabkase o so dem maminka me ma enfan to kakra na no owura Martin Amidu aha emre be no a special prosecutor
yeah.
Na me kai say the first 3 months sa say me kan ya na me ti pai me kan ya da me ti pai me onya bom ba ko pe minister sapia ba MP saba mpacho sika bia me di ye bia no I say Zacchaeus mpacho me de ba so kai edmo je salaries mienu bi ama owura matamidu nya kam ba ko no they were ready to pay ma ye jari on ye nya sika no na ekowie san ene Martin na wen da be miom ne ete se obi afu ni pemu ba Ghana man mu se ka se o he me ma de sika na ban ma me kwanya na me ntua biom we hit again ya wo se e fa kwan bi so anya o ni pa do ya hwehwe mu a na ho son sika so no wadi ne atwa me nsu no mu kase ne se si atwa abo ne ti a ohene so ne nua bi wo ba bi a na wayi abo no e bi a ne ba bi se fa koma me nua yi no so endi bi ekwan ya no so fa so wure democracy mu ne se nipa no awi abo ne ti awie no na watam kai no o de kwa aburuchire akoto ne futuom ama ne ma annanom omo ba ya de abadi nto ba hu se wo a me na wo ti yi no se wo tu hiam na Yehowa ampeja ne nsa anyi obakofo amfim ma na mbetwen kaifo a obetire hia no mu akosi awieye nti wo hu se African democracy and for that matter Ghana democracy no emma asikafo ye asikafo anadefo ye adefo and hiafo so no they will continue to be poor.
So you think democracy has failed? Shandoff, is it not the case that those who are crying are not getting some of the money? Well, sometimes people think that if people were getting some to chop, they will keep quiet. I don't know what Peter would do, but he didn't take up the role of a politician, but he always speaks as a politician. If Peter was giving money,
Papa, politics me come me time so you me.
oh, do go.
Me dey see, oh, that we can say say, who come to
Who let you boot?
Me dey see me boot. Enter bia bon say me na mama so dede. Now but me nkan. Ya dey drink say pa na bu o man no. Me come bia.
Well, say we are advocating that Christians should go into politics. And so if one of us is going in, who push you? Just that don't be unnecessarily partisan. But that's what I'm saying. Is it not the case to say people are not getting some to chop? And I have observed a little bit critically, say, when people are getting a share of the meat, or before ako they keep quiet, they do not talk. But once they feel deprived, do you think our democracy has failed us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let me align with everything that he has said.
Yes.
Really, there's nothing new for me to say. Democracy it's because of how, first of all, we conceptualized it and how we operate it within our jurisdiction, especially, of course, let me limit it to Ghana. Okay. Now, you make a valid point when you say that normally when people are enjoying, they don't lament. When they are the other side, that's basically how democracy here in Ghana is. So I think a few weeks ago or so, the NDC staged a press conference, blah 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 blah. Okay, the government is not doing it, blah 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 blah. Anytime I'm watching those press conferences, I get the impression that these people are thinking very, very well. And so when you read some of the statements and their suggestions to government and everything, you are very impressed. You are thinking, how come they have all these wonderful ideas and all of that? Until you go and watch a tape,
when they were in power
on a similar issue, and you are asking yourself, so how come all of a sudden they have become righteous in the matter of how many years and all of that? Basically, that's the thing. When you are involved, you see no evil, you hear no evil, and then you say no evil. But the moment you come out, that is when you become very pious and you are looking at things from a very patriotic perspective. That's the kind of democracy we have. So it's all about, it's not a democracy that is hinged on conviction. It's about convenience. What appeals to me is what I would, embrace at a particular point in time. So that is one of the reasons why it has failed us. About whether or not people really change, I think the system is in such a way that if you are godly, it would stifle you. If you try to be an exception, you would not have it easy at all. Okay, because it's a system. So if you enter and then maybe, for example, you've been given an appointment, you want to be very, because we are working with a group of people. For example, the president has to travel. We are supposed to make his budget estimates and all of that. Okay, and we say, oh, maybe we are 10, we are on the trip. The protocol officer handling the visas and everything says that, okay, you are all entitled to ABC, blah, blah, blah. Imagine you are part of them and you say, oh, well, we don't need that much money as a per diem or whatever. And you may be doing that because you want to save, the money in the national coffers or blah, blah, blah. The moment you do that, from an experience somebody shared with me, you will never be part of the next trip, because then you'll be drawing the attention to the fact that what are you doing? We are traveling. I will go with the president. We've given you this one. Take it and let's go. Are you now going to talk? So when you try to be an exception, the system will push you out. Yeah. A typical example, we made mention of Martin Amidu. I even want to focus on...
Let me bring our viewers to speed. Then you can continue from Martin Amidu, because he appears to be a person who is really fighting that systems will work. And we are saying our systems are not working because democracy has failed us. Therefore, you asem kesiye so. Now, share my boss say every Thursday we are going to dedicate asem kesiye to discuss amanyosem and someone ekoso ewo manimu. Now, you realize that for all my discussants, none of them is directly affiliated to any political party. Now, but you also will know, say, these people are also very sound Christians who profess their Christianity and Christ everywhere. Now, we are discussing politics without political party colors. And ye can said ye tie ni achiano ye mansusu ye de betene no na afi de atene so ye mansusu ye bekoso agina ho. Now we are not deviating completely from not discussing political matters, but we are discussing political matters but staying within the context of Christianity to endorse the fact that a Christian can equally share his or her opinion and not necessarily wearing political colors. Shandov, you were concluding on Martin Amidu, then I can come to Peter and ask him about a certain personality. What about Martin Amidu?
Yeah, I was saying that somebody like Martin Amidu, who decided to be an exception in the fight against, corruption and all of that, look at what happened to him in the long run. He now came out to say that, look, the kitchen was too hot for me to stay, and then he left. Another gentleman in the person of 𝗛𝗍𝗍𝗍, he didn't resign. The system literally had to push him out. And now, much recently, look at even our own special prosecutor. Now had to come and say that what he blah 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 blah. So anytime you see somebody who is trying to make in journalists who have fought corruption, look at people like Manasseh Azuri, and the moment you attempt to break out of the system, it will come for you. Okay, so if we even have to address it in the long run, and that's why a lot of people have called for a total dissolution of the system, so that we even go into under a military junta, because they feel that that one, I don't want to advocate for, of course, anything, but it's easier to control. I feel the opposite of democracy is very easy to control comparatively, because if you are the head of state and you are the one who has been entrusted with all the powers, okay, and you are ruling us from a military perspective, we can trust that everything is coming from a single source. It's easier to detect, but democracy too sometimes is very, very winding. For example, if I even do a documentary or a heavy publication on corruption and all of that, it would have to go through a lot of processes. The courts will have to come in. Look at Major Mahama who was killed. Look at the number of years it has taken for justice to find, and all of this is what makes democracy deficient. The bureaucracies and the protocols are just too much. So first of all, the systems are not working. If you attempt to be different, the forces will push you out. We have so many protocols and bureaucracies and all of that. That's not working. And if you also want to bring in the opposites, as in having a military junta and all of that, that one too has some negativities. But comparatively, based on the little I have seen and all of that, I would say we should look for a blend. There should be a blend of a sort between democracy and autocracy, where we would not really have so much freedom. Will be, tight elites. I don't know how we can call that, but there should be a kind of hybrid.
That should be the African system of democracy.
So that's what he's
maybe that's what we can do. We can't go all democratic. We simply cannot go all democratic. It's not something that has.
All right, I'm going to Peter. I want you to be thinking about how media has also not helped us in democracy, because you are a journalist. But Peter, the enkameba baby said no one would try to say, oh, an opinion. I will say Africa, dear no, and Nicosi Bruni, dear no, Yankamu Muni and Finfini. Now, are we not returning back to the same thing you spoken against? Say, Obi Betanaso, no, Niaka say, or no Nakunya, no, bet me the amount of Asibi.
Say, Mimi Shand of Kra, assign Abeshe, Asama Mekano, Washanama. Okay. Actually, say, on to me, say, Yanko total authoritarian. And now also can say Yanko total democracy. And then I say the African system, no. And yes, son, now a transit freed our kingship. Echo a democracy, no. Bibi or what a yan to me, I am the Edinia. And they say, yan to me, I'm blended. A African system of governance, any possible system of governance. And the Edinia, and they are two abamobia, na medical na brobrosono. Or no, not human kissing, or Nemo say, or no a democratic leader. And also, oh, Nemo say, or ye African leader. And also, Nemo say, or ye autocratic, another authoritarian leader. Do I say that you mind Bassa and Tortis on Ounbe? And many I'm not sound of air cassette. Say, Nippon is a bontain. This won't no, we knew what this young and a medical magazine in Athens. I'm not track on when we are saying, near share ideas no one. Well, what do you do? And ye fat once a muka. but and then no who say ni poli gina bonten na adwene mu ye de edo but say wo de man no esane eniema ekoso ho hwe obi andi bone a wo say atwe na so no na ohene bi asori aba oh emene na wo ni mo na we yo na we
Africa de ya wo si yenya ya na esa ba okay
tetemre mu no so ohene kasa na ye twa wuti a na ye twa wasu a ye twa wasu otie me na efa no nana brekatu sabio ayi efa ayi maintain one asem bi ba oni ohani ntem na me say oye mistake ne nsa ekoto na nasum
ai kobo na nasum
obo nasum ne bufu ye ahon we kan etwa
if you say akro no so
etwa no sisi konya
me phone line see na we are expecting your text messages said ye be ya so what question bi abebi sa eye ma bedwafo abebi so mo kabi mami kabi amamuo ni yoye ene ne farobai na dwasuo edi e hwamo ana. Has democracy failed us in all its aspect? Has the systemic aspect of democracy failed? Was it supposed to be practiced? Yem nananom de edebre yen enam nananom so mabedwafo ise nke yen ka momu ni enyina mfimfini tie de nananom de to fa ne de kwasiburu ni de so atofa ne enyina mfimfini. I want us to discuss this together, and your lines are open 0256253461 0256253461. Ni enim komo na eye question wo feel say minya misa ye no bisa abedwafoi na omomfa enjiremu emro koso na wo se ona na ye twenesu eye hu
o peja ne sa na nasum sawa
and yes, I was shared.
Wanya wotre. O man is as well. Henya sum sew. A hono man e twa na suo.
Besine.
E twa na su em say du bempenso bi na sa enya enu no ho na say onya onya do bi ma.
So so mo ye busua.
Na osan e friend so onsan bre fie. Ano kro ba fie kra no. Ono ba fie fie so no ma bo makude na otwa masu no. Me ko ba kuda bi go forest no mu ho. Enti mesan ma kotena ho na egbo mu no me kotena ho na nche se mafiri mu nchen e ho na ekonya bumbula
manya Francis Nyamia opese obisa question o kasa fi eye gomu ache ase question be pa na da wa no apese obisa
so from pastor me da se erade nhramo anape mezi no nshada nya asem bisa o contribution kakra na mpede me make
okay
yehwe za ebegofor kanya amu de teten amembu mo tetele obinya wabro obi abo a opedo twa bi koma ne nuanom naze na afi yepede yezin system ba how democracy no me wunyinde we have not fully adopted democracy sankaye if we have fully adopted it sankaye benya no hu mfaso anansunsun adoni ye hwede odo abato a yesan ko nkrasema wotum wo kire hwana adwende osimisi onzi hianodo na yemfatum ni hye sana onfa nyedwuma but nyipa ne ketena ho wi a nhihye ya yen ya hyehyɛ de yenyina ya agya atom de wonfa nyedwuma nyipa on boana wonfa de me hyehyɛ ni nyedwuma o hye de democracy na yenyina ya akire nyana adwene no wonfa no nye bio say urban national issues be or what would descend, for example, member of parliament or what would discuss a national issue or question rabiara or to more babeshia assembly for no one watch one again assembly for so for would the eba methodisa before the yaboko circuit meeting no society ni asia another local asia we were the same issue. Now also was called circuit meeting. Circuit is the diocese. And see, obodo connection nature there. Everybody that matters. Ubiana drenchre was a yen na yeri enimu. Damano wadanka oye. It's what waba ma MP ya. Na okotena wa. Bibi nyo wado be consult na ojinya na adwena was the corner will make input na yet to abeni we are ye woni biu. So we are not allowing democracy to take its full course. Na yenya ho nsunsuado. That is what is disturbing us.
All right. Thank you. Point well made. Peter, Obi Susu said democracy is good, but we are not implementing it to its fullest.
Okasana menen ne yadwen. It's an say emra ye share discussion has here no make catch say kwanya tetefoɔ no wɔn mo de democracy ba yɛ fa so ekuta yɛ no ɛnyɛ no na yɛde yɛ adwuma ɛnyɛ no and I've ma kyerɛkyerɛ mu ama am de do abibiri mu ha from Athens to abibiri mu ha ahindi yɛmfa nyɛ adwuma ɛnta meka kyerɛ wo sɛ yɛ kase yɛde yɛ adwuma bra anka me na wotie kura na anka sɛ beka fra obi adidi amen ana bi nua yika sɛ adedigya ana ma amuna obako foko du word ne nsa bomu a obi nya bi enni ne nko na edi ama kaka we nyina sɛ anka democracy abo na
egu of refobia or one kran ha ya Mr. Fem can
yes, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm Sam.
The name is Sam.
I'm glad. Yes, I can hear you. I'm glad. Yes, Sam.
Lower your volume and speak through your phone.
Discussing this particular issue on.
Please speak through your phone. There are some
All
feedback.
Right.
Speak through your phone. Lower your volume.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
All right. Thank you. I say that I'm very glad that you haven't discussion. 2 months ago, I just in Ghana, I've seen that it's a systemic issue because Ghana, I don't see system here. I don't see proper system here. When I came, I see the government, the way the government is handling the country. The government doesn't have control over the economy of this country because I see individually, they have picked up, they have actually pushed themselves up, setting up shops, businesses all over. I don't see government development anywhere. Where you find fraction of government development at very, very small, scanty areas. So I don't see that the government actually is doing something for the nation. You see, there's so much corruption, which can be seen in all sectors. And I also don't see any government who is coming ready actually to put an agenda, one national policy. Because of corruption that our governments are doing, they don't want to push such an agenda. Because if you finish a project, and your tenor, happens that you go out of power, need to come and continue. I don't see the reason why NDC and MPP issued so-called intellectuals don't have that sense of continuing what Mama did and don't have that sense to continue what that president did. So I actually see that everything is just jam up, you see. So being a Barra's boy, I think that sometimes I feel Ghana must go back to the junta. We need to take it by force. I don't care where police minister is there, where soldier minister is there, because we need to come to a point whereby we actually have to hijack the democracy and actually shuffle and revamp it and put in how these guys, your hosts, are actually talking about. We have to blend it and find a very solid and concrete, a system of ruling the country. Everybody talks anyhow. The government does anything anyhow. No development, no construction. Look at your gutters. Look at your water. The whole nation of Ghana don't drink water from the tap. What is that? So which president want to come and take over again? And he has not mentioned of correcting the ills, the ordeal of water issue. Everybody drinks a water bottle. When I came here, I just see that Ghana is bogus. I'm telling you. So they need to adjust the system. The system is bad. You don't have a system in Ghana. You don't have a system in Ghana.
Right.
You don't have a system in Ghana. I see everything when I stand in Accra and I look at my dad was working during Rollins' time. And he's dead now. I'm a Barra's boy. I used to see how Accra used to look like. Look at Accra. It's like a village. Accra is like a village. No street people are vendors are selling all over the place. What is the government doing for the people? You can move them from what they are selling, like using Abaye. If you move there, you have to build a very proper, constructive place, neat place for them to be. You're talking about, I'm from South. I live in South Africa. Look at South Africa. How is developed? Look at the structures there. They travel to South Africa. We see them in Sandton all the time coming to enjoy. They come there. The authorities, they come there. Sometimes they take girlfriends and all those places, and we meet those girls who live with those ministers. If you want to arrest them, we were going to arrest them and point that, minister, you are from Ghana. We know you. We know what you're doing here. You have to go back there and build a better hospital as you see in South Africa. Build it in Ghana. Why don't you do so? Why don't you do so?
Yeah. Thank you, Sam.
See.
Sam, thank you so
So
much.
Ghana is just a bogus nation that we have to
Sam,
we have to revamp.
thank you so much. We know you are so angry with the system. Peter, so when you gonna just a returning about we to South Africa.
Because South Africa would do just 1 month.
Okay.
Because Polokwane.
Okay.
Me see what airport or no fiesta me fight.
Who are?
Because me fiesta me fight.
Oh yeah, only one air fight.
First obi am say bia last my dua bom because dem ko hunu ye e wo mind bi so the only thing I mean
I purchase all back Ghana na asha say wo ye fight. Because so say
and say me ko no be free South Africa be do airport or no na fiesta me fight because the only thing na South Africa many enje huntia maybe me that be one men san ko bi security.
Okay, ma say your friend for back. 𝗟𝗏𝗃. Oh, 𝗟𝗏𝗃.
Yes.
You're watching.
Yeah, twice.
Aye, go.
In fact, has democracy failed us? No. Have we failed democracy? Yes.
I like the restructuring of the question.
Are different. I think that we, the people, have failed democracy. I say this because democracy is being practiced elsewhere and it is working. The systems are working elsewhere. So why is it not working here? You see, when my brothers there are talking, they are all talking about development of individuals. You see, the way systems are supposed to work, the systems are worked by the people. So if the people are failing, then the systems are failing. If the systems are failing, the democracy is failing. And you can't put that on democracy. The failure is on our part. How many times have we not heard? I mean, you are talking about chieftaincy and all that. How many times have we not heard that people are dying based on who is to rule next and all that? That system can't work even now. We hear about the Boko war, tribal war and all that based on who is supposed to inherit the throne and all that. We don't want to go back then because even that will bring much chaos than what we are seeing now. Democracy is ideal. It is something that can work. The systems here are not working because the people who have been placed to work the system are failing. So has democracy failed Africa? No. Have we failed democracy? Yes.
Thank you.
Big time.
Thank you so much. Yes, Peter.
Sir, ofrefo otwatwe. Me na ye nya adwen. I don't want to go into boku issues.
Okay.
Matana hopen. Ma ye mfa boku ahensem emfa emma ha. De emma boku ensem ba ye hwe hohwe. Bando ho atem adanfo asantefo frantefo omu hwan na hwetu e wa ahensem ho.
Yenya abeku. Abeku, what's up?
Good morning, Sofo.
Morning, na sorry.
Mitia abejafo that has democracy failed us? I think, sir, it has really not failed us. We have failed democracy.
Okay.
We couldn't work with democracy. The Methodist, if you look at the Methodist system, and that is the best form of democracy. Even the presiding cannot do certain things. And you will have to come from
Conference
before it gets to presiding. It is a quarterly meeting. That's a make a decision. Society as a prime minister ultimately changing. And in that before you do quarterly meeting, now society organizational report about society. I might discuss with society and some quarterly meeting at discuss. So before the decision will be made at quarterly meeting, you will see that the ordinary church member has had an input because that is where the report is coming from. But the idea as a mind you see, you don't come back for us to discuss anything to the top. Once it comes to the top, then you make the decision for and align to your political party. Then this year, say and this year. me am the constituency the other way crap because we are NDC our now MP now this one where the party is going is where you go, and it doesn't help us. Every decision is taken at the top. But even with the method is not when they want to have their way, the top people want to have their way, they will always have it. But at least it is better. And that is most of the it will be taken from the down. The top people can maneuver their way around it, but at least majority of the decisions will be taken from the town. Oh, the Afghanistan amount for Akuma Tom game, they are able to work with the system. But
Shandov, has the media helped to fail democracy?
Yes, the media has helped to fail democracy. Simply because of the regime we are in, we call it a pluralistic media environment. That is to say, you can have multiple media houses. Somewhere last year, the School of Communication Studies, the University of Ghana, commissioned a report to assess media in Ghana. One of the findings that they came out with was the fact that most media houses in Ghana are owned and controlled by businessmen and individuals who have links to political parties. Okay, so because of that, the media that originally is supposed to be independent is not being independent because at the end of the day...
I've gotten Peter. Right. Peter, you have a brother in the studio. You are calling from Kumasi. Peter.
Hello.
Yes, Peter, you're here. Who from Kumasi?
So, listen to it. As a grandpa, can say, Mimi who say, ye man, or a sorry, no, if you man.
Okay. Sorry, no, fairly democracy.
If you say, so, make this in the course, if you man
or mine, okay.
Yeah, the course and the commentary. Now, the man who say, Nyanko Pokra, the Mrab, man, you pass any part in this solo, any part any so. Into the Mrame part, he said, so adding, Emma, and my mediator, I see Christo. Every year be this far, and no boy, Emma. It's me, Abbe Christo, for a dim run, be a dim run so. At least a sorry for empire, you're more sorry, a more pie in my mind. You're quite sorry, and you said, you near bay as you to me, Jin can be 1 hour, 30 minutes. It will be bomb by your mama.
But the method is the liturgy. Method is Peter, method is the liturgy. Peter Utie, method is the liturgy. You were a whole paragraph. A year on mine can call in a sumdrie. Brano kwesieda divine service be a liturgies be a boss o me a bomb pie. And yes, I'm pie no na opachire. And now they hear more 1 hour, 2 hours.
You see, you not breathing your pie when you dear my mind. You dear my mind. 1 week you run, you dear my mind. Yes, I am there. You see, I mean, when you say, yeah, I will for you. California, the Yakufa, other forces in Bina, Yediel, Tiamano, except Christopher, you bring it to my mind, no money to because of the son.
That's a name of the better just say, method is as a family, the Nimuna, ye one dance here. There are some societies that they are noted to declare in a week, sometimes declare in a month, sometimes declare in a year, and by year bo amount, man, no more sure, you January, EMR. Sorry, 1 week fasting and prayer. And one of the things that featured prominently was prayer for the nation, prayer for the nation. Inti bopa many of refo be a fit takorade. Charles Yamakwaba. Charles. Bem say Charles, so Shandov, you are making a point.
Yes, I was making the point about the media having been a contributory factor to the failure of democracy. And I was emphasizing the fact that most media houses are owned by private businessmen and individuals who are connected to political parties. And the political parties always want to maintain a particular narrative. So ordinarily, the media is supposed to be independent, but because the paymasters are not independent, now it affects the content.
Okay,
and
the
the
fireman
output.
has come. Fireman, say they will see if you can anymore. And council with you, yet you.
I saw democracy no call meaning Abebwa.
Okay.
Abebwa papa because first you want to be Nyakonya say won kasa Wesley TV so to express your view. But why uncle be so fast so they abusing democracy no any problem. How can you come and sit on social media to insult the fantastic president? But it's very bad. In the Yetumina Konya ne did so before them. And it is me fireman to so. Indeed, to me, no, yes, measures and phantom. So, Obi already deep in we are temuno. Yentisani pano. You can Uber to answer doing the professional way, but don't touch somebody's personality.
Okay.
Oh, a man penny, a dumo where we here to me in the Umodimon Sony, but don't insult the person. Because democracy na bebwa pa. It's the Africans in it to me no information into because I must swear any day you what you mushi. It no some company enti chomuntu.
No.
More fire.
Yo, any more fire. Okay, so I'll pick 𝗏𝗏 from 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗏 as my last caller. Then I can go to Shandov to give me some thoughts. 𝗏𝗏, what menka? You free 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗏 for what to say?
Oh, 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗏 for here pa.
Yetio.
You are not ready to meet Nimpanu for a studio ho.
Okay.
And PBA na webisa said media no afeli democracy anase and there are some kesiye pa esi obiaji tu. One you will be no honoma party ba ko asem ko na agenda no promote. Nti yabasa na emaya ye hunu ya eko utimu se obia ye bone pa wo party so na ye defend no because party no media house or no aligned to that particular party nti emwa yeto so media no democracy no eye say ye jama asoja fo a anka obehun se bebre edimu pie nti ne damase so fo nya.
Yeah, that's a part. I'm so afraid for trap to occur. Shandov, so let's wrap up with your conclusion. Yes.
Yes, I was making the point that the media has been a contributory factor to the downs in our democracy in the fact that ordinarily the media is supposed to be a referee, an independent arbiter, okay? Somebody who is, or an institution or an establishment that is in the middle. But as we have it now, most of the media houses, or a good number of them in Ghana, are being controlled by private business owners and individuals who are connected to political parties. The end result is that they cannot be very strong and firm in their content and in their productions, because when you try to go so hard, I mean, those are the Home of Affairs would eventually, come for you, and therefore, because that business unit, the owners wouldn't want it to collapse. They wouldn't want their media empires to collapse. They are normally treading very cautiously. So there is no, for this one, I can say I've been around for quite a while. There's no media house that is truly and properly independent. No, there's no.
Except WTV. We are properly and truly independent.
The influence is not always political.
Wesleyan influence. Biblical influence.
No, that one too may not be fair. Maybe the time will come. Okay. The acid test will come.
Okay.
So it's Wesleyan, it's Christian. We can really judge the independence when now the Methodist Church is involved in an issue.
Okay.
And now the media outfit has to comment on it. That is when we'll see whether, So by and large, but you see,
Lord, lead us not into temptation. We won't get there.
But you see, normally yes. The truth is that nobody can, nobody's neutral. Okay, you by all means pander to a side, have faith, but that should not, be the predominant element in media practice. Everybody has a bias to an extent, but it shouldn't be the predominant manifestation manifestation. In our media space now, it's just a matter of observing how some particular portals report stories and all of that. Realize that, okay, even the referees have been compromised. So as for the media, it needs a complete transformation. I mean, as for that one, it's a big deal.
We'll have, producer tells me we're going to have time, don't know, possibly next week, and discuss the media and democracy, the media and politics, where we can have some of the examples for those of you who go on the field, what happens in the field. But Peter, way forward. Democracy in the way forward, in conclusion.
Still, say, I think, see, I see the way forward there. And the ensign enco is you be a yafum. Na internet ye na yenyi saa ohwehunu ana etemupo aida to yetimu se sabiu mebedi oman so a na emu arodode enkwa ebe mechefa ene mabusua ene menamfofo de a na mma se obi biara owo oman ni mu no ye becha manaso no so ama because ye che manaso bi so anya adidie nko a eba se ye kire ya adwene so a sabiu ni ono so te otwembewe ate ni ono te anuma wapam ni ono te ahemfum ote eboku ote ahemfa no ono so na adwen so ye mfa na ebia se asem bi wo mu a eya ye mfa na ne enye no ye nto enchene na oman no entimi enye oman na eba ne saa so a ebeyi koro no ene proye ene kitasese so a de efiri ho because say minimu say bi o mi firi ho mpo na wo ba wo mfa me kwan bi so a de amanya mate wo no ne nyina no ebehwere ene ma obi bedi oman so na se ma obi position bi a na sika obenya na ewo se da no foto mu no otaw akoto aburuchire de me yare se otam koto ho a ne asan ekọ se ekogi loan na sa sika no a ne sa sika na de ekoto wo no ano a ne besa bobo ano e de aman se loan na de man se loan na oman no sofo no so no ya sa yomu de disconnect yo omo ko contract omo ko pai kwan say you disconnect ma wo de a and the contractor no be free yema mu ha na ono be di ekire obeye kwan no wasa tam sika no esa de ko ne esa ko tue sika no asa tue enho e de interest amom enema oman no mu ayabasa no se me besi famu so a menua na no ya wo de betena ha no me ma ayem se me chiai me krom hene e ma me kodu fie nka me anya asem esa se sister as just no ye dema minya hoden ade betena ma boni
o betena ha won chia no
nti me sira ma me sima ba ko pe
chia no onu kra na nya no ma odware besen chia no ya ma mre
Grace how your midwife for polyclinic and then the young for
hwenanim wo TV ne so na chia no
kafra I say you mate Ohima Grace with us anope me tia won egbojo polyclinic for nyina midwife sam mo ho Lina Beatrice and then Gifty mu nyina anope mamu chia sronko.
Yeah, that's it. The shand of the unchia beloved behind
here. No, not yet.
Not yet. Crowd. Yama to was oh, quite jala me. Very jala.
Musuo yimu. And na me shand of person where dey. Oh yeah no. Name answer fi be kwa wie no. Na ye de ahoma no aso na. Na wa be say me a metie ya wo soro na wo soro wo da wa da yi.
Wasumujo.
Wasumujo me.
It go be. Ajefo eda say yem brothers Peter Wonders otra de ewo AUCC na face so yem brother Shandoff Pakwesi cheye bia no si ni papa Macedonia society ana ono omosom we Methodist ni mapa pa no si hey very soon mo bete nka on our midday news any other news bulletins ye de bremo ye twa ye ho aba ye ba ye call agoprama so say no ye free eye agronimu nanso so ya ye wia ye ho ehwe sports na kakra ye de cheche. So let's go straight to sports. Agro also there wa so there eja
Agro sodeja Wesleyan TV. Ye Jesus Christ. Ruko wiazi inara. Yama hwefo nyina akwa aba na yama obibia ache na no pay emfamra WTV so emra so se betra